Hi, I want to show you some documentation on the internet about MKP abuse. So I'm going to show you some shocking things. First of all, this is the website of a man. This is his homepage, Warren Throckmorton. Warren Throckmorton is a senior psychologist, and this is his biography. So this is where you can access the document that I'm going to show you. That's his name, Warren Throckmorton, and here is the document. I'm going to have to speed read because I only have limited time. Hold on. So this man says he had false memories of sexual abuse planted in him by MKP processes and MKP men. What he says is extremely serious. It started at my NWTA at the carpet work. I'm going to paraphrase as well. MKP leaders had me symbolically kill my father in a process to deal with physical abuse I got as a child. At the end of the process, an MKP leader said to me, "And you were sexually abused too." And I immediately says to myself, I was never sexually abused. What is this guy talking about? Just a few months later, I believed that not only was I sexually abused, but that I was sexually abused by 3 different males. MKP has a preoccupation and fixation with sex. Many of the practices and ceremonies have sexual overtones. The MKP leaders guided me to reveal details of sexual abuse, although I had no memory of any. This started at the I group facilitation, which just followed the NWTA weekend. At these meetings, MKP leaders did a process called bucketing, and this process leads you back to your earliest memories. For some men, this goes back to the moments of their birth. They say that at the bottom of the lake there is gold, and if a man can only get to that gold, then the man will find happiness and completion. They can also use a gold key to unlock more gold for themselves. Right after the NWTA, the I groups are led by MKP leaders for 9 weeks. These are the leaders that help me to remember the abuse in my life that I had no knowledge of. They used a type of relaxation. They have you close your eyes and relax. Deep breathing follows this. Then they tell you to go back to an earlier time in your life where you felt some pain. They tell you to give it a name, shape, etc. At this point, an earlier memory usually comes to the surface. The leaders use this memory for some type of guts work for the man after he is brought out of his trance. This usually involves symbolically killing someone or symbolically getting your balls back. The MKP leaders brought out memories of my sexual abuse. I remember standing in the MKP circle of men with my hands folded behind my back. A leader said that I was doing this to protect my ass and that I was fucked there by someone. That was the second suggestion of sexual abuse by MKP. At this point they encouraged me to do some guts work around why I was protecting my ass, so I did. They began the bucketing process on me, taking me back into my subconscious memories. They asked me if there was someone that had hurt me or I had been afraid of. I reported incidents in my youth with a troubled boy. I did have no memory of this boy molesting me or no knowledge of him molesting anyone else. However, through the processes and guided by the leaders, a memory came out of him molesting me, and that was my first memory of sexual abuse, thanks to MKP. After the initial 9 weeks are over with the I group, the MKP leaders give you a protocol book and you leave the group. The men are left. They believe the men left, new recruits to MKP, have the ability to perform bucketing or other Gestalt psychotherapy processes on other men. And this is where the rest of my sexual abuse came out in I groups, where untrained men were performing Gestalt psychotherapy and hypnosis on each other. The time I spent in the I group, I consider it as blind leading the blind. I kept bucketing more and more deeper into my late, bringing out more and more memories. Another memory was a scout leader who abused me, and then my father. Yet I had no memory of these events prior to joining MKP. After I left MKP, I realised that uh, two of its founders, Herring and Kuth, were therapists, and Kuth a Gestalt therapist, and they based much of MKP's processes on psychotherapy. Blah blah blah. Uh, at this point in my life, I was outraged that MKP, over a period of several years, would perform psychotherapy, hypnosis, and Gestalt therapy on me without no, on me and other men without even telling us what it actually was. They made it seem that MKP invented these processes all by themselves. The more I researched Gestalt therapy, and the more I saw that these methods looked exactly like the MKP processes in their handbooks, I then learned that the APA, the American Psychological Association, strongly discourages (almost forbids) the rebirthing process for use by their members and all licensed, fully trained, certified and degreed psychologists and psychiatrists. Amazingly, MKP still perform these processes by men who have no license, degree, etc. I am not an expert on psychology. I do know what MKP did to me and to others. I believe it was wrong, and was not only wrong, but also potentially damaging to many. As I researched more and doubted MK more, I began to firmly believe that I had false memories of sexual abuse. I firmly believe that my memories of sexual abuse that I had none of before joining MKP were totally false. Words cannot express the pain caused me in my life due to all this. If my memories of sexual abuse by the hands of MKP were false, could that also happen to others? Wow! So that took me 7 minutes. So I'm going to cover up and go to my corner. So that man says he had false memories of sexual abuse planted in his head by senior MKP men who misled him to believe that they were practicing processes which had been evolved and created by MKP, but that man says the processes were essentially stolen from Gestalt psychotherapy, and that normally to practice these processes you need to be licensed, but MKP men are not licensed. So what that man says is quite similar to what I experienced in the I group. I didn't discover sexual abuse, but I went through a similar process as he describes. I had completely different experiences. The kind of abuse I experienced within the I group was different from his, but I was emotionally abused. So I offer that shocking video for your contemplation and your consideration, and I hope it may be helpful for you. Okay, and I'm sorry I had to read so quickly. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Bye.